Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to another episode of my recap / review of Love After Lockup. This is episode 4, Broken Promises. What's on my lips right now is a Mattemoiselle. The color is PMS and it is by Fenty Beauty. Also, my shirt, the good people at Romwe reached out to me and was like, hey girl, we know you're fly and we've seen your videos. Would you like to pick out 2 shirts to wear? And I was like, absolutely fam, absolutely. So this top I'm wearing right now, you guys know I love to show a little shoulder, was about $10 on Romwe.com. I will have all the information down below. I recently put up a video yesterday, it's a comedy video, and in that video I am wearing the dress that I got. Again, showing a little shoulder. So if you guys want to check out those items that I got, please click the links down below and let them know that Just Call Me Wah sent you. So before we get started into this video, this is something that I never say, but sometimes I guess people need some reminding. If you can please like this video, that's gonna really help me out a lot. I want to get people to see my recaps. If you know your friends watch it, let your friends know. Alright, so let's get started in this episode, Broken Promises. This episode upset me. So first we're gonna start with James and Allah. We start off with James getting ready for work, Allah getting ready for whatever it is that she does all day. For whatever reason, WeTV loves shots of the women in shower. Like, I don't know why, but I feel like it's invasive and unnecessary. They even had these weird shots where they were showing a lot of feet. There's even this bit of James putting on his socks and Allah coming out of the bathroom and like dropping the towel to show that they like were making out or something. Anyways, let's get back to actually what happened. In this part with Allah and James, we really start to see how controlling James is. I'm starting to get the feeling that someone like Allah, who is an addict, should not be around someone like James. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because people who are addicts usually have some issue with control in their life to begin with. Either they don't have enough control over their own lives, they don't know what to do with their lives, people are controlling them, and as a way of sort of letting go and being free and not being stressed out by those around them that are telling them what to do, they do drugs. So Allah's in the shower, James comes downstairs and says, I gotta get ready for work, but here's the deal. I'm gonna get off work early because I'm going to meet you at the modeling agency. I set you up with an audition. And she's like, no, I told you I didn't want to do that, and it's weird that you would still set it up and not talk to me about it. And he's like, but you have to get a job. What else are you gonna do? Like, you have to get 2 out of the 3 criteria that is put on you as a felon, you have to have them going. And so the criteria is that she must have a stable place to live and she must have a full-time job. So he's trying to get her a full-time job. And because he says that she made 6 figures as a model, like, boom, she'll go back into modeling. Allah's point of view is like, I don't want to be a model. Getting into modeling and that lifestyle is what got me onto drugs. And so I do want to steer clear of that. You know, James, Captain Save-A-Ho, is thinking that he knows better for her and that there's nothing else in this world she could possibly do besides be a model, and she made a lot of money at it, so she should go back into that, or at least try, at least do an audition, at least do something. I don't understand why she just can't get a job at Subway. She can get a full-time job anywhere. She can get a full-time job at Walmart. She can get a full-time job at a warehouse somewhere. Like, why is it that he's trying to force her into being a model? And I think it's because he's like obsessed with the idea that he's dating this former model, as though that like brings him up in the world a little bit. Like, you know, you gotta listen to when people tell you how they're feeling. Allah says she's sick, that she's not feeling well, but for him, she will go on that audition. Later on, he shows up at the agency and Allah's not there. She hasn't checked in. So he wants to speak to the director, the casting director. So the casting director comes out. He proceeds to tell the casting director all of Allah's business, you know, out in front of the reception, to the where the lady's like, felon, you say? Let's go back to my office and have a conversation. So he sits down and he tells all of Allah's business to this woman about how she needs to have a full-time job, and because she used to be a model, that she could just jump right back into it. And the casting director asks a very important question. She says, so the reason why you think that Allah should be a model is because you think that she is a model, like as a profession, or because it's the only job she'll be able to get as an ex-felon? And he's like, well, I'm not trying to do anything. And I'm just like, no, but you are trying to do something. The fact that she isn't here and you're mad about it because you say the Marine in you is making you upset and nervous at the fact that she said she was going to be somewhere and she didn't show up, even though you knew she was sick and she didn't want to come. Okay. But like, it's almost like a parent. It's like he's trying to parent Allah, you know? Like a parent sits down and he's not her manager. So why is he going back and having a conversation with the agency director? Like, I don't understand what is going on. And then he says to the camera, well, maybe I should have talked to her. And it's like, no, it's not maybe. You definitely should have talked to her first and really get to feel where she's coming from. And even if she says she doesn't want to do that, that isn't her only option. Go to something else. Go make her happy, make her content. You know what I'm saying? Like, she just got out of prison. She needs to feel comforted and safe. Or she's gonna go back to those old habits, you know? It's just weird that he doesn't know that. So he ends up calling her, and Allah says that she's not feeling well and that she's sick, she's on her way, and he tells her to pull over and that he would come and get her. Now he's all concerned about her, like, oh, I have to go get her. Like, I don't care about this audition, I need to go get Allah. And I'm just like, you know, you do care about this audition. And I have a sneaky suspicion that if he gets there and she isn't like as sick as he needs her to be, he's gonna be upset with her. And I think that's just unrealistic. So there is some tea with James. I don't like to talk about the tea that I hear on the outside because I feel like it's spreading rumors and gossip, and I don't want to do that unless I have like receipts, and I don't have any receipts. But since it was requested, let me just say this. Things have come out that Allah A is back in prison, and B, that James is still married to his ex-wife technically and has 2 kids with her. So like, James, I mean, I need more information on James. My whole thing with him has now changed because of that. Alright, so let's move on to our next couple, Jonna and Garrett. Y'all, Garrett done messed up, and I can't even be on his side. I think that they're both too foolish, but here's my theory. She wrote to him for 6 years. She has to give him at least 2 years to see if he's worthy or not. The reason why I say that is because A, she doesn't want to look stupid for sequestering herself for 6 years waiting for this man, and then he gets out and she quits him like after 2 months because he's not doing what he's supposed to do. No, she needs to give him a year to figure it out and then another year to be who he said he was going to be. And if he isn't that person by the end of the 2nd year, she needs to bounce. Period. I'm staunchly on Jonna's part in this. So what happened is he went out with his boys. He finally is 27 days out of prison, which means some kind of parole rule lifted, and now he's allowed to drink. He promised her that when he was able to drink again, that his first time getting drunk since being in prison would be with her, and he completely broke that promise, and I think that he is a jerk for doing that. Apparently he's been hanging out with a lot of his old friends who Jonna says were nowhere to be seen while he did his 6-year bid, and she's just feeling really, really let down. I also saw an Instagram post from Jonna saying that Garrett wrote her all these things while he was in prison and promised her all these things, and now she's ready for him to be the person he promised he was going to be. And I 100% am on her side with that. Like, unfortunately, it's silly because that's what people in prison do. They fantasize about what they're going to do and how they're going to be when they get on the outside. And a lot of times, unless they had a life on the outside before they went to prison, they're unable to do that. So as we've said before, like people like Lamar, people like Garrett, they're not going to be able to get acclimated back into society the way they think they will, because before they went to prison, they weren't really a solid member of society. You feel me? Like it's not like he was a white collar professional who got caught up in embezzlement. You know, and so when he comes out, he knows like what the path to take is. Like, it's not that. He is somebody who abused drugs and stole cars. Like, he didn't have a normal beginning. So he's not going to come out and know exactly what to do, and Jonna's not going to be able to show him that. So he goes out with his friends, goes to Scores, which I'm not sure if it's a strip club or what it is, and there was this weird little scene where the camera pretended to follow him in, and then the guard is like, no cameras. I'm just like, okay, WeTV, we get it. Like, these setup shots are so transparent that I'm just like, okay. Anyway, so he stays out all night, doesn't come home at all, ends up going straight to his job at 7 a.m., sleeping in the car, and then when he gets to work, he's feeling very regretful. Like, so he's a server at a beachside restaurant. Good for him, he got a job, I'm excited about that. And he's talking to Barb. Barb is the bartender. She's a little bit older. So he's having a conversation with her, and Barb drops some real knowledge. She's like, look, if you're not ready to be in a relationship, like, then you shouldn't be in one. And it is unacceptable for you to be out all times of the night. Like, unacceptable, because would you be okay if she did that to you? And Garrett is like, you know, I'd like to think that I would be okay, but she's not that kind of person, so I honestly don't know. But even if he would be okay with it, Jonna has never her, like, she's not a convict. She does have a mugshot. I don't know what that mugshot means, but, like, she's not a convict. She's not somebody who has a bad track record of getting caught in their crimes. Like, Garrett is somebody who's susceptible for making poor choices and having dire consequences happen due to those poor choices. So he really cannot be trusted, honestly. That's just my opinion. Until he, like, grows up and learns how to accept criticism and start to care about what people think about him and starts to really, like, make good decisions, like, it's not gonna be a walk in the park for Jonna or anyone around him. So he goes home later on that day. Jonna walks in. She's clearly upset because she's gone to bed. He's not there. She gets up in the morning, goes to work. He's still not there. So, like, she gets home and he's there. And she's just like, I've already explained to you how I feel. Like, she's being very, you know, upfront, and she's not yelling at him. She's just, like, trying to get him to understand, like, what's going on. So the first thing he says, which is very defeatist and the sign of somebody who, like, is very juvenile in their emotions, he's like, so, you know, I don't know what I can say to make you feel good about this situation, so... You know, so then John is like, yeah, that's the problem. You're so nonchalant about everything. It's like you don't care. But it's a big deal. It's a big deal. You did not come home. You know, and she's absolutely right. You know, you're sorry about last night now, but when I was texting you and telling you how I was feeling, there was no response from you. And he's like, but I was drunk, as though that is an excuse. It's not an excuse. You were drunk? Like, no, bruh, you messed all the way up. Garrett owes Jonna, period. I don't care what he thinks. And if he feels like he doesn't owe her, then he needs to do everything he can in his power right now to get up out of her house. In his confessionals, Garrett says that Jonna wants him to live a controlled life, but he's already done that for 6 years and he just wants to be free. And that right there tells me that he doesn't want to be in a long-term committed relationship. Being free doesn't mean upsetting the girl who's put everything on the line, bought a house so you didn't have any complications, like who you sent flowery letters to telling her how you were going to do these things and be this person, and you come out and all you can think about is being free. You can't do those things yet. You have to prove that she can trust you. You have to prove that you're going to be a responsible individual. So she's like pulling out the big guns, which is something I think her and Andrea do, which is really unnecessary. Saying things like, I will leave you. I will leave you. You can only say I will leave you so many times before they stop believing it. So, like, don't bust it out as an option when it really isn't an option right now. You're not going to kick Garrett out right now. Unfortunately, she's just going to have to save face and wait 2 years. Like, you know, he starts to laugh and she's just like frustrated because she feels like he thinks it's a big joke, and he's just like, well, I laughed through everything. I laughed through my sentencing. I laughed through this. And I'm just like, oh, you're one of those people, the people who just laugh through whatever's happening to them. That ish is annoying. All right, let's move on to our next couple. So next we move on to a new couple. We have Toni and Angela. Toni is 32 years old. He's been in prison now for 3 years. The first time he went to prison was for drug possession, and the next time he went was because he had a gun on him, and as a felon, he's not allowed to have a gun on him. So he's been in jail for the last 3 years, and he's engaged to Angela. Angela says that she has always been attracted to men in prison or men in incarceration. She says that she just has a lot of empathy for them, and that is who she is. Like, she's somebody who does that. So she met him on a pen pal website, and they started writing back and forth. And shortly after they started writing, he proposed to her. He sent her a Valentine's Day card and told her that when he got out of prison, that he would marry her on February 14th of this year. So Angela's really excited. She talks about how she and her sister like did some Photoshop on a picture of her and sent it to him, and then he sent pictures of himself, and he was an MMA fighter, and they just kind of fell in love and talking through letters and emails and then eventually on the phone. So she's really down for him. As far as I know, she doesn't have any kids. As far as I know, he doesn't have any kids. He's 32, and again, she is 45 years old. Personally, I see nothing wrong with this. Like, if that's what Angela wants to do to her life, girl, more the merrier. Live your life, boo. I feel like as long as you don't have the kids, you can do whatever you want to do. She meets her friend Tommy in a super classy joint. You go to a bar, purchase a drink, and they give it to you in a red Solo cup. I don't know, something about Angela, I feel she's genuine and I like her. So she's talking to Tommy. Tommy is worried that she is going to end up in a ditch somewhere.